Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you today. Does Tether have the trials of Job in front of it? We're going to get into that, and that is a pretty interesting topic. We've covered this before, but it's getting real all over again. China sends some Bitcoin mining rigs to the U.S. We'll tell you where. Things are getting interesting. And then we're going to take a look at the price dip and where we are right now and what it means when we see these dips, and then reflect a little bit. Besides that, we're also going to hear new comments from Hester Peirce. It is not from the same comments from the morning video. This is brand new comments from her. You're going to want all of that. And where is the bottom for this crypto market? We're going to hear from some of the technical analysts on exactly where that may be. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackUpBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. We're looking at the space with 1.3 trillion plus in it. The market is bleeding off heavily at this point, and obviously this has to do a lot with a lack of regulations, but even more so of late, this has to do with Bitcoin being the front runner in this space, because this is a speculative market for which Bitcoin has the dominance over. And that's where we're at on this day. So we're going to take a look at some information here that shows us why we're at $33,000 and everything else is bleeding heavily, with XRP now at 68 cents, ladies and gentlemen, off by more than 22% on the 7-day. Let's look at the range right now. 66 on the low end of the range, 78 cents at the top end of the range. This thing's been bleeding all morning and throughout the night. We see that 65 cents can be a line of support. We're going to take a look at some stuff before we get out of here today, but let's start right here. Does anyone remember this little exchange from Anthony Pompliano and Brad Garlinghouse when he asked Anthony Pompliano if he thought China could stop the mining, and he said no, and he just played all kinds of dumb about it? Listen to this little quick clip right here where Brad Garlinghouse asked him flat out last January. Listen to this.
Let me ask two questions.
Okay.
Do you think the Chinese Communist Party could, if they wanted to, control those 4 miners?
No.
Exactly. And here we are today. Let's quickly move to the next piece of news. This is John Deaton. Shout out to you, my friend. Brad Garlinghouse's statements to Anthony Pompliano about Bitcoin being susceptible to Chinese government control has played out to demonstrate that Brad's concern were directly on point, and Pomp wouldn't acknowledge the reality, and he wouldn't acknowledge the reality. But you know what? It's a reality now, because major currencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, plummet as China widens its crackdown. Well, it doesn't stop there. China bans banks from handling Bitcoin trade as well. This is from back in December 13. This is not the first time that China has played this game with Bitcoin and proof of work. However, I want to show out, because it's full disclosure, that this isn't the first time that this has happened, but this is happening again. And that's John Deaton's tweet right here, that it's been happening again in the near term from Forbes. And I covered this morning as well for Bitcoin and what's happening with the shutdown. So look, there's a lot going on out here, and full disclosure, this is not the first time it's happened, but Brad Garlinghouse called this about China stepping in. And to that point, let's keep moving, because then there's the Tether issue, for which many have said for a long time is where the money is being placed, and they're printing the daylights out of Tether. And some would say they are not backed properly the way they should be, dollar to dollar. And that is an issue. We know that they had a court case with Tether not long ago in the United States that got settled, but it seemed like it might not be over. This is Jim Cramer talking about Tether and Bitcoin. Let's hear his remarks really quickly on this. And just full disclosure, Tether is... It's been said, if you're not aware, and if you are, just bear with me for the new people in the space. It's been said that Tether's been used to inflate the buying of other assets like Bitcoin, in short. So listen here.
Welcome back to Squawk. Want to get down to the New York Stock Exchange to see our good friend Jim Cramer. It's nice to see you, my friend. We got to talk Bitcoin. We got to talk Bitcoin, because
we have to.
I want to get your sense of what you think's happening here. on China. I see you tweeting about Tether. I know you've got lots of questions. What's on your mind?
I want to know how Tether's financing itself. You know, they claim they're using a lot of commercial paper. They're using Chinese commercial paper. They haven't been as forthcoming as I'd like. They should tell us a little more because they obviously are integral here. But, you know,
just very quickly, I just want to insert here the comment that Digital Asset Investor had posted here, which is, you know, all the world's a stage. This guy didn't just discover Tether. He's being whispered to. And that's really what's going on, I believe, here, in my opinion, as well as his. You know, Tether has been an issue for many, many years and a point of discussion. And for mainstream media to start really pointing at this now alongside of the conversation with Bitcoin, things that make you go, let's keep listening.
You know something, Eunice is so good, and she talks about the idea that the PRC doesn't like people doing things that they're not supposed to do. That's a nice way of saying they're going to come down on your head and it's just going to go away. And I think everybody has to recognize that the biggest players in this market are the Chinese. The Americans tend to play in, they're doing anything to get it rolling, but the guys who really dominate are China. And I think the PRC's had enough of this. I don't think that the PRC's coming down on anybody who's capitalist who they don't control. And I think we should all recognize that President Xi is not like anybody else for a long time, since Mao. And I don't think he's a big Bitcoin fan.
Well, there you have it. And now looking right here, we see this clip here where if we go towards the end of this, where it discusses the problems with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are in the red this morning following a growing crackdown, as we just discussed. It's not new for China, but what is interesting...
Bitcoin, Ether, and other popular cryptocurrencies.
What is interesting about this for me, and I just want to get to this last part of this, and I think I've got it back far enough here, but I want to get to this last part of this where it shows that a lot of this is being shut down in China and they're relocating in the United States. I think this plays perfectly into the notion of renewable, sustainable energy projects here in the United States. And as Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank says, not owning blood coin, which is Bitcoin mined in China, is a big ordeal. And I think it will be a big ordeal for regulators to know where that Bitcoin you bought and hold comes from, like it or not. And that's why I think we get a carbon tax footprint, or a carbon footprint tax, and other things like that for regulatory guide or regulatory framework to be released at some point in the future here. Now, that's why I think U.S. companies and investors are setting up now to address that issue. Now, let me play this clip real quick. Here we go.
Paper, the Global Times, said that this clampdown would mean that 90% of the country's Bitcoin mining capacity would be shut down. So where is that business going? We've talked about this before on the network, that some of it could be going to the U.S. or elsewhere. We spoke to a logistics company in Guangzhou that has been kind of promoting the business that it's getting, and they said that they just shipped 3,000 kilograms, kg of, or 6,600 pounds of Bitcoin mining machines to the state of Maryland.
How about that one? Right here in my state, right? The state of Maryland. So that's going to get interesting too. I'll see if we can't stay on top of that and follow what's going on. We know that there's some huge places or companies out in Texas that are looking to do solar power, wind, and things of that nature to be able to mine Bitcoin. We'll keep you posted, but this gets more interesting. But you know what? Thinking about the price dip here, and I just want to go back for a second and looking at this. And by the way, I bought the dip this morning, and I'm sure Mrs. Backup will probably give me hell about it. But the reality is I did what I think's best for us. And this is not financial advice for you or anyone else. This is just me sharing what I've done, which has been a part of my building my discipline over the last 4 years to buy the dip when you find it, right? And I spent the first part of getting into this space of FOMOing all the way up to 2017 bull run into 2018. And then I bought for the years after from 2018 on till today. And I'm still buying this morning. So that's my plan and what I'm doing. I'm not suggesting it for anyone else. You got to make your own decisions. But the reason I'm looking at this is because of the dip in the market. And it is an opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, for me and my family to buy and to continue to load up. Even though I haven't experienced a 3, 4, and 5-digit XRP that I know exists out there waiting for us with adoption and regulatory clarity. So with that being said, I wanted to really take a step and look at this article right here from DJ Peter Vass. If you invested $1,000 in XRP 5 years ago, here's how much you'd have now. And this is a really, really great article because I think it speaks to the discipline of buying the dip, right? Or at least buying and holding versus trading. So if you had invested $1,000 in XRP 5 years ago, here's how much you'd have now. And if you go down here, basically it says 5 years ago you could buy XRP for a little more than half a penny. At that low price, $1,000 purchase would have bought you about 173,000 XRP. The price of XRP at the time of the article was 85 cents, and thanks to a massive increase, your previous $1,000 investment 5 years from now will be worth $147,000. Now, full disclosure, we're at 68 cents, so I'm just very quickly going to give you the math to what it is current here. 173,000 times 68 cents. You'd have $117,640. How's your fancy little coin doing? One of the things that, look, I mean, one of the arguments you can make, be like, yeah, but that was 5 years ago. I just got into the space 3 months ago. How does this help me? I think it goes to speak to the progress of what Ripple have been doing all these years with the onboarding of customers to their software and exposing them to the idea that at some point they could get the next level of benefit by using the native token XRP. And broadly around the world, most of the customers they have want to use it and intend to use it. Now, when I look at this little demonstration here of what 5 years ago would have been till today, I see a huge gain, even at 68 cents versus the 85 cents at the time of writing this article. The chance to invest $1,000 and make $117,000 is pretty remarkable. I don't know many places that you could do that and be able to experience those kind of gains. That's pretty remarkable to me. So with that being said, I think to myself, what will the next 5 years be like? And will you only have $1,000 in it? Will you do a buy and hold, or are you going to pursue like a trader, scalp the market, chase green candles kind of thing? There's no wrong answer. What fits you in your world is what you need to do, right? Based on all the research you put in and this, that, and the other, just like my own research I put in, right? So for me, I'm excited about this because I understand that we're staring down the barrel of a settlement at some point early next year at the latest. That's 6 months from now. Not 5 years. 6 months from now. And it could settle today if they want to. But long vision, according to Jeremy Hogan, we could be looking at early January 22 before we actually see a summary judgment of the case. And if that be the case, we're talking about 6 months from now. What kind of gains do you think we're going to have 6 months from now? You think we're going to have the kind of gains where we experience a $1,000 investment turns into $117,000? Or do you think it'll be more? I myself happen to think that it might just be more. This is looking at the weekly chart right here for Bitcoin, and Crypto Bull 2020, shout out to you, says $27,000 for Bitcoin is where we could hit before resuming the uptrend on Bitcoin. And I show that to you again, as I said in the beginning of the video, that is what dominates the market because this asset space is speculative right now. It is not utility driven. And Bitcoin has dominance over the market while it is speculative. But what I do know is that this is from Mark G, and he gives us some fibs right here to look at. We could see this roll down a little further into the 60-cent range. Right? But we may find huge support here, hopefully. And if we don't, it might break lower to 45 cents. But what I do know is that if we find support here off of this line and we start our way back up, I'm very encouraged knowing that we see any kind of upward movement while the SEC case is unresolved, unsettled, still hanging over everyone's head. And I can only imagine the power and the amount of money that will move into this asset the moment that this case is settled. And I have a sneaky suspicion it will be way more gains than we saw in 2017 and 2018. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. PureVPN is one of the many ways that I hide my anonymity online. Make sure you check out the link in the description. There's all kinds of specials there as well, and they are trusted, vetted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.